Hi, everyone. It's me, Krylios, Team Racing Productions MC and producer. And joining me today is Bradley Thomas. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I am doing great. It is great to have you here and great to see you. Thanks for being here.
No, absolutely.
Certainly. Well, I want to kick this all off with just having you introduce yourself to our viewers and give us a little bit about your background.
Certainly. My name is Bradley Thomas. I am a Washingtonian, a native Washingtonian, fourth generation, actually. I am running for DC Council at Large. Again, I was born and raised here. I went to the DC public schools. I graduated from Woodrow Wilson High School, whose name is about to be changed, actually. And that's a good thing, too. I attended Purdue University. I majored in electrical engineering there. I came back to the DC area. I worked as an engineer in Baltimore for a number of years. And then I went to law school in the evenings at Georgetown University. And I got my law degree. And then I started practicing law. And I've done that for about 40 years now. And in the meantime, about 9 years ago, I decided to go back to school and get an additional degree in a new field, which is sustainability and environmental management at Harvard. So I have that degree as well, and I've been an advisory neighborhood commissioner in the DC for 10 of the last 12 years. I've been the chairperson of ANC 5E for the last 6 years. Well, this is my 6th year as chairperson. And done a lot of different things in the community, and I could spend the next hour going through everything that I've done over the years, but that's it in a nutshell.
Awesome. And now you are running for DC Council at Large. Tell me, what is it about this cycle or just this time that you've chosen to throw your hat in the ring for this race?
Sure. Well, there are a number of issues that we deal with here in the District of Columbia, not unlike other cities around the country, I would imagine. But I think it's time that we have some fresh ideas, some fresh energy, fresh eyes on some of these problems. And I think I bring a good perspective. I've been around a while, I've done lots of different things, and I have some ideas and some perspectives I think that maybe need to be tried. Maybe we need to look in a different direction. And I thought, why not now? As the saying goes, if not me, who? If not when? If not now, when? So that's basically the motivation.
Certainly. And I want you to really touch on some of these issues that, you've identified and you'd love to tackle if elected to this role on the DC Council.
Sure. Well, I look at my slogan is people, principles, progress. But I look at addressing 5 major areas of concern. And I put them in a particular order because I think it is important to address them with that kind of a priority. First is education. We have an issue with so many of our children who are falling through the cracks and not getting well educated. Actually, education is the new currency of the 21st century. If you're not educated, you're falling out. You're falling not only through the cracks, but out of the system. And I think that's very, very important that we address that. Second one is employment. We have too many people in our city and in the district who are chronically unemployed, lacking the skills, in some cases kept out of the market because they've made some mistakes earlier in their life that follow them, that hang around their necks like an albatross. And other mental health issues that may exist as well. So we need to address how we can do better with full employment in the city. Now, I know that's a pipe dream to say full employment. There's always going to be some level of unemployment, but if we should strive to reach full employment and minimize that level of unemployment. The third thing is housing. We have too many people, as you know, there are people who are living in the parks or living in tents, but we have lots of people who are living in housing that is inadequate, that is not decent, that is not a good environment, particularly for children and for seniors and so forth. And we need to have decent housing that is affordable. We often talk about affordable housing, but what's affordable is a matter of definition. And some definitions of affordable simply are not affordable for many of our residents. So we need to address that. The fourth thing is public safety. Now, public safety is a hot topic item. Everybody is concerned that it leads the news. They say if it bleeds, it leads. You hear about somebody was murdered last night, or people were shot in the streets, or it was a home invasion, or all these types of things. That's very important that we address. We have to get on top of that. People need to be safe in the streets, in their homes, in the community. But again, I put the other three first because my theory is that if you address issues with education, with employment, and with housing, you cut down on the public safety issue. People who are well educated, who are employed, who are living in decent, affordable housing, they're not out in the streets committing street crime. So that's why I put those in that order. And then the fifth thing has to do with environmental justice and safe communities in terms of health perspective. You know, one of the things that people often neglect and don't realize, and frankly, I didn't realize the significance of it until I went through my last school program at Harvard and learned a lot about environmental impact. If children are living in environments that are toxic, that toxicity affects their cognitive abilities. And so you have, there have been studies done, and it's miraculous the way these studies line up, but there have been studies done that looked at, for instance, lead poisoning. We used to have lead in our gasolines. I don't know if you remember those days, but I do remember when lead.
I know it. I know those days existed. I've read up on those days existing.
Yes.
But
yes.
yeah.
But lead used to be a component of gasoline. It was intentionally put into gasoline to enhance its octane capacity so that it fired better. The gasoline burned more evenly and so forth. But lead from gasoline would flow into the air, and so in cities, particularly crowded cities, you had a lot of lead content in the air. There was a study that was done that looked at the increase in the lead levels in the atmosphere. And I believe this particular one I'm thinking about was in Chicago, but it looked at the increasing lead levels. And then it got to the point in the 1970s when we realized that lead was a bad thing, and we started moving towards unleaded gasolines, unleaded fuels, and eventually leaded fuels became a thing of the past. But they looked at a bell curve of how the oxygen, or rather the lead in the air, increased to a certain point. Then lead was banned in gasolines, and then it decreased. Well, they then looked at about 22 years later at the curve of young people committing crimes, violent crimes. And the curve is almost identical, except it's 22 years apart. If you moved one curve 22 years toward the other, they would match each other. Mm-hmm. And what that showed is that the cognitive abilities, the social skills, the anger level, all of these things that feed into criminal activity, those things were affecting, or lead was affecting children as they were very young, as they were babies, even in the womb, so that 22 years later, when they're now young adults, their brains, which were affected by this lead when they were very, very young, have now created human beings that are antisocial, that are more violent, that are more prone to fail in school, drop out of school, commit crimes, be engaged in violence and so forth. It's an uncanny correlation between the two. So what that tells me is that when we have people living in toxic environments, and there are lots of toxic environments in our city, some wards have more than others, and you can imagine which wards those are. They have more of these toxic environments than others. If you have children who are being raised in those environments, their chances of success later in life are diminished. So that's an important factor. And it's something that it's going to take a lot of education for people to understand, because what we see right now is, my grandmother got robbed last night, and that's what's important to me. I don't care about the fact that this dump over here next to my neighborhood smells bad in the summertime. That's not important. What's important is stopping crime right now. And so it's going to take education for us to realize that that this is also a factor that we have to deal with. But and so that's why it's my number 5 on the list. But all 5 of those factors are very important, and I think we need some creative solutions to all of them.
Really important, really important. Thanks so much for that.
Sure.
So let me know, why are you the best choice for the voters?
Well, I think again, I bring a wide expanse of experience and training, probably wider than any other candidate in the field. I've been a lawyer for 40 years, and I've done all kinds of work in the legal field. I've been a trial lawyer, I've been an appellate lawyer, I've been a transactional lawyer, I've done family law, criminal law, civil law, entertainment law. I was even briefly a certified NFL player representative. Um, yeah, and I even mediated. I was a mediator in a case involving a stock market, a stockbroker involved in the crash of the 1987. And there was a big case where people who lost money were suing this particular person, and I served as a mediator in that matter. So I've done a wide variety of things in the legal field. Then I'm also, as I mentioned, I was an engineer. So I have an appreciation of the significance of technology and technological advancement in our society. I have this degree in sustainability, environmental management. I did my thesis on environmental justice and how important that is and how it affects people of color and people of modest means more than others. I have extensive experience with church governance. I was on the board of directors of the Central Atlantic Conference of the United Church of Christ for 7 years previously, and I'm back on it now for my second year. At one time, I was the president of the board for 2 years. And the Central Atlantic Conference is one of 38 conferences in the United Church of Christ. And I don't know whether you know about the United Church of Christ, but it's a progressive Christian denomination that's been on the forefront of issues like social justice, racial equality, mountaintop coal removal, the school to prison pipeline, even the change the name movement. That as the big story this morning was the Washington football team now decided on its new name. Well, that movement to change the name was one of the incentives that the United Church of Christ was involved in. Particularly when I was the chair of the Central Atlantic Conference, which covers the churches in DC, Maryland, most of Virginia, West Virginia, Delaware, and New Jersey. So that's the region that's called the Central Atlantic Conference. So I've done a lot of that. I was also the chief layperson for People's Congregational United Church of Christ in Washington, D.C. for 19 years as moderator and chair of the church council. So I've done a lot in that area. Done a lot in other community activities. A Boy Scout leader, Sunday school teacher, member of the board of the Civic Association. As I said, I'm the chair of Advisory Neighborhood Commission 5E, and other areas in that. And then I'm also an advocate for the arts community because I have a background as a musician and songwriter and recording artist. And so
arts and sciences, it can be done.
yeah. So there's I don't think there's any other candidate in this field who has that wide an expanse of experiences. And so I can bring those experiences to bear on the problems because I have the perspective of a lot of different people from walking the walk and being in the shoes of people from different perspectives and different walks of life.
Awesome. So tell me, when does voting begin for the at-large council?
Right. The early voting in the primary season begins on June 6th. And the actual primary election day is June 21st.
June 21st.
Yeah.
So viewers, keep those dates in mind to make sure that you are registered to vote, make sure all of that is together. So if you want to make sure that you are vote ready, you can go ahead and go to headcount.org to check your status and register to vote. Now, before I let you go, how can people learn more about your campaign, support, donate, get updates, and learn more about what you have to offer?
Absolutely. They can simply go to votebradleythomas.com. VOTE
VoteBradleyThomas.
BradleyThomas.com.
Awesome.
There's a link there to donate. There's information about what we're doing. And one of the things I would encourage people to do when you go to the site is click on the link that says from the desk of Bradley Thomas, because what I'm doing on that is every week, and usually it's like Sunday night, I will post an opinion article, just my thoughts on a particular topic or subject. I'm monitoring the news all the time. I'm looking to see what's going on, and usually I'll write something about something that's in current events and give my perspective on it. So you can get a good insight into how I think about issues by simply reading those articles every week. But I encourage people to go to the site, VoteBradleyThomas.com.
VoteBradleyThomas.com. That link will be in the description below. So viewers, you can go ahead and check it out after this. Bradley Thomas, thank you so much for joining me today. It has been such a pleasure, and I wish you best of luck on your campaign.
And I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and your viewers today.
Thank you so much. To our viewers, please follow Team Racine Productions on all forms of social media. Like, comment, and subscribe. But most of all, thank you for watching. Bye, everyone.
Take care.